So have to say it was rough going, slow getting up this morning. The idea of getting up, getting back in Jonathan, and spending another full day in that driver's seat was a little slow today. But got a little carrot. I'll save it for later. It got me moving. Looking forward to it. Lather, rinse, repeat. That's the motto for the day. We'll see you later. All right, so I said there was a carrot for the end of the day. I made it here into Albuquerque by 3:30, thanks to the time change. It's 51 degrees, which is a little crisp, but boy, it's a lot nicer than what I've been dealing with. And that's my backdrop. This is Old Town Albuquerque. I looked it up this morning, and I happen to be at a nice little brew pub that does only local beers here in Albuquerque. And I'm enjoying a marble red ale. You can see it right there. So we'll see you in a bit. All right, so I'm still here. Got a hazy IPA, also again from Marble Brewery. I'll have to learn a little bit more about them. It seems like everything here is from Marble. The red ale was delicious. I also had to go with a pizza. So that's called the Old Stampede. So hopefully that'll be nice and delicious too. But still hanging out, and in the meantime, take a look at some of the sights and sounds and pictures of Old Town Albuquerque. Well, I had hoped to have more of the sights and sounds of Old Town Albuquerque to share with you this evening. There were a lot of things that I missed for a variety of reasons. I saw them, but I didn't get them on film or we still use the word film in this digital media, either in video format or in still shots. There were so many really neat cars that were there. It's obviously a part of the culture here. As people go cruising in their old cars from the 40s and 50s and 60s. I saw a number of them and planned on going back and asking the owners if I could take some close-up pictures of these beautifully, not even restored, but restored and then stretched far beyond their original designer's intentions. And by the time I got to it, they were gone. Sunday evening is obviously not the big time for people to gather and celebrate in Old Town. People were definitely doing it, but they cut it short, particularly as the sun started to go down and things got a little bit cooler. There were also some dancers, not traditional dancers. I'm talking lock and pop dancers, break dancers, modern dancers that were all dancing in a gazebo. I got to witness one of the dancers, a young girl had come up and said she was interested in dancing, and one of the dancers was showing her some moves. And I wanted to record it, but I also wanted to ask permission before I did. And they packed up and they left before I got an opportunity to interrupt and ask if I could record them in any way. And so I missed that. There was just so much that was happening. And this was just such, a couple of blocks happening here in the center of Albuquerque. I'm sure there's so much happening all around the city. But I hope you enjoyed the slides that I was able to share with you. I guess I haven't said anything about my trip yet. The trip was a good trip today. It was short, which was such a blessing after 2 really long days. and it was simple. And I think what I'll do is I'll share with you a couple of images now. I haven't even gone and looked at them yet to see how good they are, but hopefully it was amazing to see both in western Oklahoma and through Texas. The number of wind farms that I saw in Texas especially was astonishing. But the wind was really blowing today. So, but it was neat seeing on one particular shot I took, and I don't know if it'll come through, but a shot of on the right hand side is a traditional farm, agricultural farm, and on the left is a wind farm, and it was just neat seeing that contrast and similarity happening on either side of the highway as I was driving today. New Mexico. Oh, actually, so I should say I went through Texas, which I've been in the Dallas Fort Worth airport, but never been in Texas outside of that before. So it was neat to drive through the North Texas. Again, it was quite cold, still in the 30s. Wind was blowing pretty fiercely. And then to enter New Mexico, and again, to see the changes in some of the geography and how things changed throughout. So hopefully I've got a few shots that I can share with you. So our musical selection today, unlike yesterday, where I really felt like I spent all day and there was good music, but none of it really picked me up until I hit Thunderstruck. Today it was non-stop. I had six, seven, eight different song selections I could have gone with. And I wasn't even sure up until literally 30 seconds ago. I was just getting ready to do this and I found myself humming one of the songs. So that one's the one that's going to win out. I'm going to save the others because they might come back a little bit later on. So the song this week, wow, the song today is Horse with No Name by America. Is a song I've loved since I was a kid. I didn't know it for the name of the song for the longest time. I didn't know the name of the band, really, America, until I listened to it today. And I looked it up as I was listening to it because it's listed there on the screen. I was like, oh, wow. All right. So take a moment and follow the YouTube link. Hopefully I can find a nice link for it, video of it, and enjoy Horse with No Name by America. And then we have the thought for the day. So today I didn't have a whole lot of silence because the music was just so good, and I'm listening to a book on tape too. It's not all music and silence. I'm listening to a book. It's a 23-hour, I'll say high fantasy, and really enjoying it. Today I'm down to about 4 hours left in it. I saved that for tomorrow. It is a solid book. Maybe I'll tell you what it is later. But it didn't leave me a whole lot of time for thinking today because I was listening to such great music and listening to the story, which was just awesome. Today was a great day. It was a short ride, and that was just nice. I was in a much better place as I went through the day than I thought I would be in the morning when I first woke up. But I did have a thought that I wanted to share with you, and this is something that struck me a couple of times through the adventure that I've been on. And especially this morning, it came up again. And I think it's because I listened to a number of songs. I think I had 3 songs in a row that were all about being alone. And one of them was Horse with No Name. Another that came up was one is The Loneliest Number. Feel free to look that one up if you don't know it. And then the other was The Doors, People Are Strange When You're a Stranger. So a lot of those are just about being alone. And it brought me back to thinking about community. And that's something that I've thought about a number of times along the trip so far is my community and who is my community and what does that mean? And especially the importance of community. And by community, so I'm broadening the definition. What I'm saying with community is that we aren't meant to be alone. There are people that seem to thrive on being alone, but even our most staunch introverts, and I consider myself an introvert, although a lot of people are surprised by that. Even our most staunch introverts need some sense of community. I don't believe, for the most part, that we're created to be alone. One of the things that struck me in seminary, reading a book called Theological Crossfire, which I still have on my shelf in my office today, one of the theologians that was writing it talked about the importance of community and the fact that even God is community. When we talk about the triune God, God three in one, we talk that even God is not alone, for God is by definition community of three people, or three in one. And so, there's a lot about community and the importance of community in our lives. And so, community, I'm defining community as family. Community can be one other person. Community can be our friends. Community can be anyone or any group that is there for us in our time of need. And community can also be church. It left me thinking today about church. And yes, theology, faith, God is at the center of church. But for a lot of people, and even for those where God is the center, community is a major, major part of what it means to be Christian, at least in our Protestant tradition. There are Christian traditions where faith is much more individual. But for a lot of us as Protestants, and mainline Protestants especially, our church is our community. There is a shared togetherness that is really at the heart of what we choose in a church. Yes, it's important what the preacher preaches. Yes, it might be important that we sing hymns that resonate with us emotionally, but so much of what it means to be church, and so much of what we choose and look for in a church, is a sense of belonging, a sense of connectedness with God, but connectedness with each other, and how essential that is. And so that's been on my mind. Wow, I'm talking for a long time. My countdown is saying I'm already at 4 minutes and 50 seconds. And I'm still going to keep going because I brought something with me. I brought this with me. A few of you may recognize this. A few of you, I hope, will recognize this. This is a river stone, obviously with a heart painted on it. And it was given to me by the Women of Faith before I left. The last time I met with them, and I meet with them twice a month on Thursdays, and we have a wonderful time. They're so wonderful to accept me into their community. And when I met with them the last Thursday before my sabbatical began, Jane and the group presented me with this rock, and I told myself at that moment that it was going to come with me on this trip and be with me throughout my sabbatical. So in some ways, I'm bringing you guys and the whole church, not just the Women of Faith, but the whole church with me, and remembering your presence and how you are such an important part of my community, as is my family, my children, my wife, my friends outside Barrington, outside the community, my colleagues. I've got so many different communities that all play different roles in my lives. But I wanted to just celebrate this rock, celebrate your presence with me, and celebrate the different communities that we have in our lives. And I also was thinking, as I was thinking about this today, I know for a fact that there are some of us in our church community who still feel very alone, and who don't, especially in the midst of the pandemic, don't feel a sense of community right now. And there's two ways of looking at community. And one is those people that are there for us when we need it. And then there's also our role in the community. And so if you're feeling particularly lonely or alone as you're watching this, or at any point in your life, not only think about those that are there for you, but think about how you might be there for someone else. Consider just now picking up the phone or picking up a card and a pen and write someone a note. Be a community for someone else. And And then maybe you'll feel a sense of connection if you reach out to someone else. So reach out to someone today in love and in hope, and continue to grow your community and be a blessing for it as it is a blessing for you. So I think that does it for today. It's been a good day. Good day. It started off a little rough. Wasn't sure I wanted to get back in the saddle, but jumped in the Jeep after finding a nice little carrot, the opportunity to get here early, to have a little sunshine, to sit outside, to see a little bit of the culture. All of that just helped me through the day. So once again, thank you for joining me on this journey. Boy, we've gone about 2,000 miles, maybe I think a little over 2,000 miles already, and still have some more to go. So tune in tomorrow. We'll see you then.